Hello, good evening to everyone here on YouTube. Thanks for joining me here. We'll get started here in just a few minutes, so I'll play an introduction video and we'll get things started. This is K1DBC. All stations please stand by. The Denver Radio Club Learning Net starts in 5 minutes.
Hey there everybody, it's Oliver here. Anybody who's good at Halloween knows that it takes a lot of time to get it all prepared. Whether you're building out a haunted house, creating an LED lace costume, or preparing for trick-or-treaters, you can't pull it off last minute and have it be really good. We here at SparkFun know that, and we also know that we really enjoy creating creative limited edition boards. So with that in mind, and with one of our favorite holidays looming in the future, we've decided to release a limited edition Halloween board that we're calling the SkeleBoard. Dun dun dun! The SkeleBoard is a version of the SparkFun ESP32 Thing Plus that features a super scary skeleton design in white silk on a matte black PCB. Also, thanks to the contribution from Alex at Hackster, we were able to use the proper naming convention on this board with the Doot button, rather than the previous and dull Boot button. The board itself also comes with a U.FL antenna included, so you can start your IoT ideas up right from the get-go. The specs are all the same as a typical ESP32 Thing Plus board, and you can check them out on the product page. At a high level, the board offers sorcery for nearly anything you'd need in a Halloween build. It has a rich set of peripherals, including an SD card interface, capacitive touch sensors, Ethernet, SPI, UART, I2S, I2C, a JST connector, and a U.FL connector. It comes in a feather format, and the ESP32 module offers dual mode Bluetooth capabilities and Wi-Fi. So, how can you get your Skele hands on one of these SkeleBoards? Well, all you've got to do is build up a cart at SparkFun.com that reaches $100 or more, and then we'll include it for free with the use of a promo code. The only caveat is that we've only made 300 units of these SkeleBoards, and once they're gone forever. So, if you want one, you've got to move fast and build out your cart, which also doubles as the perfect opportunity for you to get everything else you need for your Halloween build. Here's exactly what you need to do. Add the SparkFun Thing Plus SkeleBoard ESP32 Room U.FL to your cart, build out a cart that reaches $100 or more, not including the board itself, or shipping, tax, or discounts, and then use the promo code SkeleBoard21, and that's it. Voila! You've got yourself a SkeleBoard in your hand with all the same capabilities. You might be wondering why we're releasing this board when Halloween is still a full month out. Well, like I said before, the scariest projects take a scary amount of time to build. So we're releasing it well ahead of time so that you have plenty of time to go through tons of iterations and dozens of visits to your local thrift shop. Personally, I'm hoping to use this board to convince my housemates that there's a poltergeist living amongst us. I'll be building out over the next month a home automated ghost that will flicker on lights and make mysterious noises so that I can psychologically convince my roommates that we're not the only ones inhabiting this home. I've started with using a PIR sensor that's connected up to my SkeleBoard through Quick, and have begun working on code thanks to a library I found that will turn on the surround sound radio when the PIR sensor is triggered. Plus, I'll place the whole setup in an obscure place, like the laundry room, so when the PIR sensor is triggered, the radio 2 rooms over will suddenly turn on and then scan through radio stations every 5 seconds. It's still in the works as a proof of concept at this point, but I'll be sure to update the build status as the month goes on. And I have a feeling that the other creative techs at SparkFun are also using the SkeleBoard for their own Halloween builds, so make sure to come back and check theirs out as well. So, what are you waiting for? As soon as you fill up your cart with $100 or more of stuff, you'll be eligible to add the SkeleBoard for free. We think they'll go as...
Alright, thanks for watching that here. SparkFun, local Colorado venture, electronics manufacturer and distributor, so check them out. And yeah, good time as any to get into some electronics Halloween. So let's get the net started here. This is K1DBC. The DRC Learning Net will start in 1 minute. All stations, please stand by while the repeaters are placed into net mode.
PL off.
Hello, and welcome back to the Denver Radio Club Learning Net. This is Kilo 1, Delta Bravo Charlie. My name is Daron. Phonetically, that's spelled Delta Oscar, Romeo Oscar, November. This is a very casual conversation where we can discuss ham radio and STEM topics in general. Thankfully, we have plenty of combined experience and expertise. We meet every Wednesday, except the third Wednesday of the month at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time, on local repeaters 145.490 and 448.625. Both have a negative offset. 2 meter uses negative 600 kilohertz, and 70 centimeter uses negative 5 megahertz, meaning you transmit on 144.890 or 448.025 respectively. Oh, that's not going to work, is that?
W0TX repeater.
You got to push the talk button to get on the air. This is K1DBC. I apologize, I was talking to nobody there for a moment. Hello and welcome back to the Denver Radio Club Learning Net. This is Daron, K1DBC, Net Control. This is a casual conversation where we can discuss ham radio and STEM topics in general, and thankfully have plenty of combined expertise and experience. This net can be broken at any time for emergency or priority traffic by using the word break. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? Hey, good evening, Bob. Everyone else. You can contact us via email at drclearningnet@gmail.com. We also post info at groups.io/g/ham learningnet, as well as stream and archive our nets on youtube.com/WEREGR8 Whiskey Edward Romeo Edward Golf, Romeo 8. You can also search for our club call sign W0TX. This is K1DBC Net Control. We will begin by inviting Elmers only to check in with or without traffic. All Elmers, please check in now.
Alpha 0, Juliet Kilo. AA0JK, Fred, Nevada. Good evening with traffic.
This is K1DBC Net Control. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following Elmers. AA0JK, Fred with traffic. Thanks for checking in, as always. This is K1DBC Net Control. Again, an Elmer is just somebody with some experience. No responsibility comes with it. So if you'd like to check in with any experience of a certain topic, let us know. Again, once more, this is K1DBC Net Control. If there's anybody else who'd like to check in as an Elmer, with or without traffic, all Elmers, please check in now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. All other check-ins to the net will be taken in alphabetical groups based on the first letter of the suffix of the operator's call sign. That is the first letter after the number in the call sign. If you can, please try to use IT phonetics as you check in and indicate if you have traffic or questions as you do. If your suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
Good evening, Duran. This is Tom, Kilo 6 Hotel Juliet Victor. No traffic.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins. We online had, and you're more than welcome to check in online as well if you're not in the area. We had Bob, Whiskey Alpha 4, Mike Bravo Golf, and then on the air we had K6HJV. Tom, thanks for checking in. Another call at the moment. If your suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Alpha Whiskey Charlie, Brian Wheatridge, no traffic.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-in. KF0AWC Brian, thanks for checking in. We'll go ahead and open the whole alphabet. This is K1DBC Net Control. This is the Denver Radio Club Learning Net, general conversation where we can discuss ham radio STEM topics, electronics in general, etc., etc. If you'd like to check in, we're going to take all call suffixes, Alpha through Zulu. Please check in with your call sign, name, and let us know if you have any traffic or questions. Please call now. I should get a crickets sound effect, I think. For
November 0, Tango Romeo Papa, Jim in Lakewood, good evening.
WD0 CIB, WD0 CIB, Charles in Denver.
Kilo 0 Yankee Echo Sierra, Ken in Broomfield, no traffic.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. We'll go ahead and hold up there for just a moment. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins. KE0RLQ Michelle, N0TRP Jim, WD0CIV Charles, and K0YES Ken. Thanks so much everyone for checking in. Glad to hear everyone's able to make it there. All right, sort of a quieter net it looks like here, but one more time, I'll throw out check-ins. Anybody else like to check in at the moment for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net? We'll take all call suffixes, excuse me, Alpha through Zulu, A through Z. Please check in now.
W0 Foxtrot, Foxtrot Charlie, Sherry, no traffic.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Foxtrot Papa India, Ron in Lakewood.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. That time we had Whiskey 0, Fox Charlie Jerry, and KF0 FPI Ron. Thank you again to everyone who's checked in so far. This is K1DBC Net Control. You're more than welcome to check in anytime online, again on our YouTube that we're streaming this net at, as well as anytime throughout the net. If there's a nobody else is speaking, you're more than happy to just jump in there with a check-in or anything like that. I will take official check-ins throughout the net. So I guess with that though, we'll throw it over to Fred, A0JK with traffic. The net is yours. Go ahead.
W0TX Repeater.
AA0JK, am I getting through, Jerome?
Yep, absolutely. A0JK. This is K1DBC. Here, loud and clear.
Okay, yeah. The ID came on, and as usual, it was only a partial, but its carrier stays on. So I don't know what's going on there. But back to business here. Just noted that the November QST digital version is out. Paged through that a little earlier. Another great issue. And let's see. I wanted to make some comments and maybe possibly get some feedback on some of the previous topics that came up last week. We're always interested in finding out how the antenna experimenters are doing, and hopefully we'll be able to get some feedback on the 2-meter Yagi and what all transpired there as far as getting it up and running. I know it sounded like we had some issues there with the feed line attached to the two radiating elements there. So hopefully he will be able to get that up and running. Very simple, basic antenna, so it shouldn't be too difficult. Also, I wanted to make a comment. We had someone who acquired a buddy pole, bipole antenna, but I found out later in the conversation that he had it indoors. Oh my, oh my. Let me caution you on indoor antennas. Especially like if you are in an apartment or complex living community, you are going to be introduced to your neighbors quite quickly, and possibly the landlord, hopefully not with a notice that you're being evicted. But if you're trying to operate a 100-watt transmitter and an indoor antenna, it's going to get into everything. Your neighbors are going to be able to quickly figure out who it is that's interfering with their lights and all their appliances in the house. So I highly recommend you do not try to be operating a 100-watt transmitter. In fact, even a lower powers, you're still probably going to be getting into the electrical systems of your neighbors. So do take care. AA0JK. Let's see. Also, we had comments, people wanting to get parts, looking for parts, and I noticed that somebody was complaining about postage. How much does it cost for gasoline to drive across town to pick up the parts at your local store? Also, I got on and was checking out local amateur radios in my neighborhood, and my gosh, it was quite a surprise. Just in my block alone, there's several that I was totally unaware of. So, and they also have an Arvada radio club here locally, and I'd like to hear from anyone who might have checked that out or possibly a member of the Arvada radio club. So that's it for the moment. AA0JK, back to net control.
All right, AA0JK, this is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, great information there. Yeah, it'd be great to have some follow-up. I know, yeah, last week we spoke about somebody who's had a 2-meter antenna build from the On the Air magazine, July edition, and was having some issues. Yeah, it'd be interesting if they were able to check in on that further, and then, yeah, anything else there as well. Yeah, the indoor antenna, yeah, you want to make sure that you're not creating spurious transmissions for your neighbors and you're causing issues for them. Yeah, and we don't bring it up too often, but I think either through the Universal Licensing System, ULS, or through ARL, you can definitely search for local radio clubs as well as other radio operators within your area. And it's kind of interesting to see everyone that's out there. So, yeah, really, really cool information there. I wonder if you or anyone else has anything further on that. Go ahead.
AA0JK, open it up for comments there from anyone who might want to make notes on those topics. AA0JK.
PDF.
All right, sounds good there. Yeah, KG5 PDF, go ahead.
Oh, good evening, everybody. It's KG5 PDF. He's absolutely right there. You pull up that map in ULS, or listing in the ULS there, and it's surprising how many are around. I'd be interested to know what percentage, or give or take, are still active, though. But yeah, I found that out a long time ago. Just a little small town, and there was probably upwards of 30 call signs that were associated to my zip code of, probably 2,000 people. So it was very cool. And yeah, the cost of gas to get around this town is substantial, I suppose, and the time investment. But when you're pushing along on a project, sometimes you really just want to get it today or tomorrow. Either way, I did finally get the PCBs or perf boards in. I had to do some digging around. It seemed like, I guess it was an odd size, and there were some very odd arrangements out there. So there are perf boards that are set up for SMD work, and there's a few different designs. I didn't know that. The pads are in a little different layouts. And this one, before I just always seen the 0.1 pitch standard board, so a person can keep that in mind. This KG5 PDF, back to the net.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, definitely head over to the Universal Licensing System and do a search for your zip code and amateur radio operators active. And yeah, you can even go down to street level. So yeah, check that out as well. Yeah, in regards to parts, yeah, I haven't done too much surface mount soldering. And I'd imagine, I don't know how well footprints move between through-hole soldering and surface mount. So yeah, that's interesting to see that you're able to get that worked out at least. So yeah, I'm starting to venture into surface mount soldering and reflow, etc. myself. So yeah, it's interesting to see that, and yeah, glad to hear you were able to get things sourced out there. All right, very cool. This is K1WC Net Control. Yeah, great information brought up so far this evening. What else? Just seeing if anything came up here. Yeah, so utilize the resources that you have. If you're a member of ARL, check out their publications online. Check out some of the local shops that you could potentially use to get electronics equipment, and just try to reach out to your community, see what's out there. So yeah, good information so far. I'll throw it out to anyone else. So far, anything you want to bring up about what we've brought up so far, or anything else? This is K1WC Net Control. Go ahead.
W0TX repeater.
TRP.
Yeah, N0TRP. Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, N0TRP here. Fred, just after I checked in, I had my attention diverted for a couple minutes there, and I just caught the tail end of your explanation of something really need to guard against causing spurious radiation there. I apologize. Would you mind repeating that, please? Thank you.
AA0JK, okay. Our ID, repeater ID is causing some issues here. That time we got W0T, and then it went blank, except for the carrier stays on. So I kind of blotted out the first part of your transmission there. But I've issued a complaint about that, and evidently it hasn't quite reached the people that look into that and make their corrections. But it is a bit annoying, and when you hear the ID, give it a chance to clear off before you start transmitting, so that we don't get cut off. But yes, in regard to having an indoor antenna, and definitely, you might get away with some QRP, some low-powered transmitter. But for goodness sakes, don't try to operate a 100-watt transmitter inside your house with an indoor antenna. That RF just radiates into all of the surrounding units of your complex. And it gets into a lot of this modern technology that we have in our homes these days, and creates havoc. So, once the neighbors figure out that it's not a Halloween trick and they got spooks in the house, they start looking and zero in, and they will introduce themselves in not a positive way. And definitely, if you've got a landlord that is overseeing the complex, you'll definitely hear from them. But in the past, even not being in that kind of a situation, operating 100 watts with an external antenna, I had some issues in the neighborhood. So do take care and don't upset the neighborhood. AA0JK.
Okay, Fred, thank you very much. And thanks for the tip, too, on waiting for the ID to clear. Now, does that apply to HF, VHF, UHF, anything?
Well, I should have stated HF, your HF frequencies. I am not sure. Most of our UHF and VHF aren't that high as far as wattage output. We're very low wattage because we are getting into, we're using repeaters that kick up the power for us, and we can get by on these UHF and VH as long as they're not too carried away with 50 watts or more. So I think we're okay with the UHF and VHF radios. It's just when you get into the HF and start wanting to work DX that you're going to start having some issues. I used to like to get on and talk with my dad down in Lake Havasu, and we had a net with the people in S.t.e.m down in New Zealand. And I had a neighbor, she came back to me one day and complained that she could only hear half of the conversation. Oh my, AA0JK.
With PDF.
All right, sounds.
Appreciate it very much. N0TRP back to net.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Sounds good there, A0JK. Yeah, indoor antenna usage, you want to be careful about high wattage, but we have the tools around us to measure these things. So, yeah, very cool. KG5 PDF, go ahead.
Very good comments there, and I have been extremely cautious on my HF endeavors there. But yeah, so I have had some experience on the VHF, UHF side of that back in the college dorm. I can tell you from experience that if you are somewhat adjacent to a fire alarm panel and you key up on 50 watts 2 meters, you will freak it out and it will probably alarm. So be aware of those things. You definitely want to be several doors down from a fire panel if you happen to know where it's at. But like you said there, generally, you know, I was working repeaters, 30 miles away on my handy-talkie from the 3rd floor, so that really wasn't necessary. It's just my mobile radio was just where it was set up last, and I didn't think anything about it when I brought it indoors. So after that, I turned it down to 25 watts, and never had any problems after that. Just had to turn my PC speakers off. KG5 PDF, back to that.
All right, KG5 PDF. This is K1DBC. Yeah, absolutely. I know the ARL has some information on some touch lamps and some other electronics that we inadvertently may be able to trigger. And yeah, that's even more of an issue. A fire alarm panel or things like that. Yeah, you never know. Sometimes our cut of the spectrum is large but small. And yeah, we definitely want to make sure we're not overlapsing into any safety equipment or other people's radios or home equipment, things like that. So yeah, really, really good information here. This is K1DBC Net Control. I'll actually go ahead and take this opportunity to take further check-ins. If you've just tuned in or want to check in, my name is Daron, K1DBC Net Control for the Denver Radio Club. Learning Net, just a very general, casual conversation where we can discuss ham radio and STEM topics. If you'd like to check in, please do so with your call sign in I2 Phonetics if you can, and check in with your name and indicate if you have any traffic or questions as you do. We'll take all call suffixes. Please check in now.
Kilo 0, Lima Alpha India, K0 LEI.
November 0, Echo Yankee Zulu with a question.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control.
W0TX Repeater.
I'm hearing the full ID, too. That's kind of weird. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins. K0LAI, Larry, and N0EYZ, Jim, with a question. We'll come back to you here in just a moment. All right, once more, this is K1DBC Net Control for the Denver Radio Club Learning Net. Taking all call signs, suffixes. Please check in now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I guess with that, we'll go ahead and throw it over to N0EYZ. Jim, with a question, the net is yours. Go ahead.
Yeah, I missed the beginning of the net because the instant that you opened it, I got the only phone call I've gotten all day. Isn't that funny how that works? But I've been looking at some research on loop antennas, and one I'm interested in there saying to set it up, you orient the antenna north-south direction. Is that north-south looking through the loop, or having it to a north-south azimuth? They have an illustration and they don't tell you. So anybody got an answer for that?
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I got what you were asking there, but it was cutting out. Your transmission seemed to be cutting out every couple of seconds or so there. In regards to loop antenna and direction or orientation of the antenna, north-south, is that through the loop or on the alignment of the circle itself, the loop itself? So anyone have any comments on that or any knowledge on loop antenna directional orientation? Is it through the hole or is it along the side of it? This is K1DBC Net Control. Go ahead. This is K1DBC Net Control. I couldn't speak from experience, but very cursory search here, it states that the polarization of loop antenna will be vertically or horizontally polarized depending upon the feed position. The vertical polarization is given at the center of the vertical side, while the horizontal polarization is given at the center of the horizontal side. That doesn't answer the question for me. Really, but I wonder if anybody else has any follow-up on that at the moment. Go ahead. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control.
Oh, well, guess I'll keep trying to research it. Thanks anyway.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, you'd think the answer would be fairly obvious there. Yeah, I'll have to look into that a little bit more and see if we can follow up on that. Good question, though. Yeah, anybody else on the topic of loop antennas or directionality, orientation, any past experience or anything else like that, please call now. All right, sounds good. I'd imagine it's the face of the loop, whether the front side or the back side. I'm not too sure. I don't know what the front or the back of loop antenna is, but hopefully it would be the entire circle itself is the face instead of the outer lying wire. So, yeah, good question. So yeah, great information there. Yeah, let us know on that potentially. Yeah, I'll throw it out to the net. Does anybody have any comments, questions, check-ins, anything else you'd like to bring up for the net so far? Please call now.
Guess I'll keep searching. N0EYZ. Thanks.
All right, N0EYZ. Yeah, thanks for the question. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. This is K1DBC Net Control for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. I probably have some things I can bring up, but we usually go for another 25 minutes or so. So if anybody else has any comments, questions, check-ins, anything else you'd like to bring up for the net, please call now.
KF0FPI, comment?
Yeah, KF0FPI with a comment. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to give high five to AA0JK Fred for asking about my homemade 2-meter Yagi. I pretty much have parked that in the garage. I'm hanging it. I'm working on my 6-meter hex beam and trying to get my setup done before wintertime hits real bad on my rotator mast.
Comment.
All right, thanks for the follow-up there, KF0FPI Ron. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, good to hear on at least some other work on the hex beam. Yeah, comment, A0JK, go ahead.
Okay, A0JK. Yeah, don't change any of the dimensions as specified in your directions or article that you were following there. Make sure those dimensions all remain the same. You've got two elements there in your driver, your hot leads, so to speak. You got a negative and a positive. Those are two separate elements. Check to make sure that you don't have a short across those two drivers, the two driving elements, those two elements there in the center of the antenna. The dimensions of all of the elements, the reflector, the directors, and your radiating elements should not change from the specified elements, directions in your plans. So I would check to make sure that you don't have anything shorted out there in the coax across those two elements there. Don't worry about the reflectors or the directors if they are cut proper to the proper length. They are not causing you a problem as long as they're all spaced out there properly. Your problem is going to be somewhere in that feed line and possibly the attachments points to your two negative and your positive main leads. AA0JK.
KF0FPI, comment?
All right, thanks there, Fred. A0JK, this is K1DBC. Good information there about all the different elements and reflectors, director, etc. And checking the connections there. FPI, KF0FPI, Ron, go ahead.
W0TX repeater.
Yeah, so I'm going to just Yagi project for the winter and maybe tear back into it in the spring, but I got the same feed line on a factory antenna I bought, a dual bander, and that works fine. So I'm going to stick with that dual band and try the 6-meter and get some in the air and masted and guy wired before, like I said, wintertime hits hard.
All right, sounds good there, FPI. This is K1DBC Net Control.
Control.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, sometimes you have to shelve projects for other things. I think I maybe heard Barb, W0BKS, chiming in there. Or was anybody else trying to get in there? Go ahead.
Bravo Kilo Sierra. I didn't want to butt in, but I'm a late check-in, so if you sign me in, I'd appreciate it.
No problem. W0BKS Barb, absolutely. Got you checked in. Great to hear you.
Comment.
All right, yeah, A0JK Fred, go ahead.
Yes, back to the loop antennas. And if you go to the website, KATYARS.com, that's Kilo Alpha Tango Yankee Alpha Romeo Sierra.com. This will answer your questions concerning your loop antennas. It's an article on fox hunting, and about they start out basically with your like tape measure antennas and whatnot, but you get down towards the center of the article, and they've got a real good description here of how to use the loop antennas, and in regard to the question that was asked, your maximum reception of your loop orientation is off the side. So take a look at that article. They've got a good depiction here, some good artwork here, and minimum reception is through the loop orientation. So that should answer your question there, and definitely take the time to take a look at this article. Extremely well done. AA0JK.
Fred, website, I missed it. I was just out of the room.
Extremely broke up. Hard to understand. But I think you wanted me to repeat the website. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, it's www.k as in kilo, A as in alpha, T as in tango, Y as in Yankee, A as in alpha, R as in Romeo, S as in Sierra, .com.
Roger, thanks a lot. Roger. You need to break it very badly, too.
AWC comment?
All right, sounds good there. A0JK Fred. Yeah, about it looks like it's the Katy Amateur Radio Society, KATYARS.com, to see if I can find a more specific link here. There was a comment in there, and it, I think it was maybe AWC or whoever was just asking for a comment. Go ahead.
This is KF0AWC. Also on the loop antennas in the AARL Extra Class License Manual, Section 920, they have also a section on loop antennas that show that it's the loop antenna, the ideal loop antenna has deep nodes at right angles to its plane, because there are two nodes in the pattern, is bidirectional.
Got it. Thanks. Roger. I'll look that up right now.
All right, perfect. Thanks there, AWC, KF0, AWC Brian. This is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, thanks everyone for the information there, and hopefully that somewhat answers your question there a little bit, UIZ. And yeah, I guess we'll go with that. So this is K1DBC Net Control. Great question here about loop antennas, direction, orientation, quite a few other things here. So if anybody has any comments, questions, anything about we've spoken about so far, or anything else you'd like to bring up, or any other check-ins, please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. We have about another 15-20 minutes or so for the net. I can certainly bring up a few things if needed, but I'll throw it out to the net. Does anybody have any other comments, questions, check-ins, or anything else you'd like to bring up so far? Please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. I can pass a few things here, and then we'll bring it back to the net and go from there. This is K1DBC Net Control. A thing I recently found was Nerd Night Denver. Nerd Night, I guess, is a whole or a larger group, but they have I think it's a monthly meeting, in person, I believe, and remote when needed. But really cool topics here to cover: grammar, anthropology, improv, geomagneticism, Tolkien, Apollo 8, lunar volcanoes, Dungeons and Dragons. Mental illness, internet security, Chernobyl, robots, physics. So check them out. I'll have to put a link in the show notes here, but they have an Eventbrite link. So if you're in the Denver metro area, they have a monthly meeting at the Oriental Theater. Looks like also the Bug Theater going forward. So pretty cool stuff here. This is K1DBC Net Control. I don't have a heck of a lot at the moment. Great articles over on rtl-sdr.com, as we speak about quite often. Top 2 news articles here, pretty heady. But kind of the future of what our hobby can provide and support, and what we can learn. Titled "Future SDR: An Async SDR Framework Implemented in Rust." So this is similar to the GNU Radio project. It's an experimental open source SDR framework that has been being developed by Bastion. The idea behind the framework is that it is implemented in Rust, which is a programming language that supports asynchronous code. The end result to the user should be faster, more portable, and lower latency digital signal processing code. So yeah, more info on their website, futuresdr.org. Second news article here, titled "Real-Time Radio Spectrum Map Database Demo with RTL SDR and Android." Over on his YouTube, Dr. Diep Nguyen has posted a video showing work done to create a real-time spectrum database by his team at the University of Technology, Sydney. Project involves use of multiple software-defined dongles and Android mobile devices to monitor the spectrum and make it accessible to requesters in real time. Again, quite heady. Their intentions are to, it goes on to say, in the view of escalating demand for higher mobile data from different industries, IoT, 5G, there's a growing worldwide interest to improve the radio spectrum utilization. Effective management of the wireless spectrum requires knowledge of the available bandwidth at any given time and location, which necessitates expensive recording equipment and labor costs at various locations. A number of countries around the world, including the U.S., are opening up TV and radar bands for sharing with other applications. So their efforts are to world's first real-time spectrum database, fast deployment, and can cover wide range of frequencies. Plenty of more info. So yeah, very, very cool project. This is K1DBC Net Control. I don't have much else really this evening. It's been kind of quiet, a little bit busy on my end with work recently. And in fact, I'll mention something about that. I guess I'll throw it out to the net. Does anybody have any comments, questions, check-ins, anything else you'd like to bring up so far about what we discussed or anything else? Please call now.
KF0 FPI question.
Yeah, KF0 FPI, go ahead.
Yeah, last Sunday I was listening to the 6 Meter Invitational, and I had a question. Is that for Elmers or is it for everybody?
JK?
Great question, FPI. Yeah, that is open for everybody, that 6 Meter Invitational net. It's run a little bit different than this net. It's a more round table net, so you will be called upon in its current state, but everyone is welcome to that net. Sunday mornings, 53.090, 10 a.m., open to everybody. Yeah, great question there. AA0JK, Fred, go ahead.
Yeah, you got her covered there, Daron. You got her covered. Join us 10 a.m. Sunday mornings on the Invitational Net. We get some pretty good conversations going there, and we always like to hear new check-ins. So we got a pretty good group going there, and you never know what topics might be presented. Join us, AA0JK.
KF0 FPI.
All right, sounds good there, AA0JK. Yeah, KF0 FPI, go ahead.
Oh, I was listening in. It kind of sounded like the good old boys club. They're talking about mulching leaves and maybe riding their bike up the hill, and it just sounded like maybe a fun group to join in on Sundays.
Yes, it is. We have a good group there on that net, and our topics are all dependent upon what we've been up to. So if you were just out riding your bike, taking a stroll, raking leaves, or whatever interest you may have, astronomy, and who knows what might come up, your latest vacation to Las Vegas. Anyhow, we have a good time. AA0JK.
All right, sounds good there, AA0JK Fred. This is K1DBC Net Control. All right, yep, 6 Meter Invitational Net. If you have equipment that's able to operate on that band, check it out. Sunday mornings, 53.090, 107.2 PL tone. I think a regular offset potentially, but check the website, and I'd love to hear more people on the air on that net if you'd like. So very, very cool.
Comment.
Yeah, A0JK, go ahead.
Yeah, before I forget, if anybody has any questions concerning these topics that we discuss here on the Learning Net, amateur radio related questions, you can always contact me at Elmer, ELMER, Elmer at W0TX.org. That's Elmer at W0TX.org. You can email me, and we'll try to answer any questions that you may have. And if you just happen to be sitting here on this particular frequency, you might give a shout out, and if we're in the shack, we'll pick you up there and discuss whatever topic you have at hand. But we're on the website. We're on the W0TX website, on the educational Elmer there. Just down the list there and find my call letters, and Elmer at W0TX.org, and we'll try to help you out if we can, and if we don't have an answer, we'll try to find somebody that does. AA0JK.
All right, sounds good there. A0JK for this is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, absolutely. We have definitely a few emails thrown out there. Elmer at W0TX.org. You're more than happy to always email that. We have Denver Radio Club, or we have DRC Learning Net at gmail.com. So plenty of ways to contact us if you like. So yeah, don't hesitate to reach out.
CIV comment.
Yeah, WD0CIV. Charles, go ahead.
Yeah, Fred was talking about that one article about the fox hunting antennas, and they do show you how to build 2 meter 440 or whatever 70 centimeter little loop antennas for receive only, not transmit. Anyway, if you want to learn anything about loop antennas, all you got to do is study World War II. British, Americans, Germans, Italians, French, everybody used loop antennas to find the spy radios that were hidden all over the countries. And, they'd go after those spies that were operating hidden radios and stuff. So anyway, you can learn how to use that antenna by studying that history. Anyhow, this is WD0CIV. We'll turn it back to Net Control. Take her over.
All right, sounds good there, CIV. Good information there on loop antennas, and some of the history there. Yeah, have to dig into that a little bit. Very, very cool. It's K1DBC Net Control.
W0TX repeater.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. We have a few more minutes here. We don't have a hard stop, but if there's any other comments, questions, any other check-ins, anything else at the moment, please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Really quick here, I'll just describe some of the things I'm getting up to in my job at the moment. I'm not an engineer by any means, but I'm kind of one of the technicians working on some things here. So let me drop here for a moment. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. You're more than happy to check out my LinkedIn profile and look at my history of jobs. I currently work for Zayo. They are an internet provider, and more specifically, I work for a group that provides internet to cell phone towers, 5G towers now, etc. More specifically, we're getting into something called DWDM, Dense Wavelength Division Multiplexing. It's optical multiplexing technology used to increase bandwidth over existing fiber networks. Works by combining and transmitting multiple signals simultaneously at different wavelengths on the same fiber. The technology creates multiple virtual fibers, thus multiplying the capacity of physical medium. All that being said, we're essentially delivering cell phone tower sites at 10 gigabit potential speeds over a single fiber. Again, this is using DWDM. And again, I am not an engineer, but we're transmitting and receiving on terahertz frequencies. I don't really have anything that I can bring up at the moment. But in the terahertz frequencies is what we are transmitting on. So it's pretty interesting. The optical transceivers and the world of optics. There's a little bit of overlaps with RF. Some of our field technicians use something called an OTDR, which is an optical time domain reflectometer. We can ourselves as amateur radio operators get a TDR within a nano VNA, and it determines the length of a cable. An OTDR determines the length of an optical cable, and the one we have, TDR, just is RF. So again, really, really cool stuff. Love seeing a lot of overlaps. So that was a real quick premise about what I'm getting up to. And yeah, we're just deploying different cell phone sites and working with our field techs. So pretty interesting what's capable out there. So this is K1DBC Net Control. I'll go ahead and drop here. All of that being said, this is K1DBC Net Control. I don't have too much more. There's always plenty of things to look at. If you have access to the QST, go check that out. Everyone has access to the W0TX Denver Radio Club Roundtable. Go check that out. Plenty of cool things online. So I'll throw it out to the net. Any other last-minute check-ins, comments, questions, anything else at the moment, please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I'll throw it out to the net. This will be, I guess, the final call. If there's any other final comments, questions, check-ins for this evening's Learning Net, please call now.
JK?
Yeah, it is your JK. Fred, go ahead.
Yeah, on the roundtable articles, for those who might be interested in the old radios used during World War I, World War II, this is goes along with Charles's comments there, KD0CIV. Thanks for that, Charles. But if you go to the roundtable articles, I've got a couple articles there that I wrote that you might find of interest. One of them is on foxhole radios. It's in the roundtable July of 2015. And it's a little bit of history there on how they had issues there with their stealth, or so they thought, radios during the war. They couldn't figure out why they were being found out, and it was the loop antennas that the Germans were using to find the Allied radios, hidden radios. It turned out that the oscillator circuits in their receivers, they weren't transmitting. All they were doing was listening. But the oscillator circuits in their radios was radiating RF. And the Germans, with their loop antennas, were able to zero in on them, find them, and eliminate their radios. Also, there's an article I wrote here on going stealth in April of 2018. So if that's of interest to you, look those up and let us know what you think there in the roundtable issues there. AA0JK, back to Net Control.
All right, sounds good. Hey, is your JK Fred? This is K1DBC. Yeah, absolutely. We have a wealth of knowledge over on our W0TX.org webpage within the Roundtable archives. Yeah, it goes back over 10 years now, back to 2007. So a lot of great articles written by club members, and they also have sometimes clips of some of the older club meetings and some of the archive. So yeah, really cool stuff. Check out our roundtable. A lot of cool stuff there. Thanks, Fred. Okay, this is K1DBC Net Control. Anything else for this evening's net? Please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Again, Halloween is coming up. Great excuse to build some electronics projects. Great company here, locally based, SparkFun.com. They put out some pretty good videos. So I was playing one of some of the Halloween things they have here. So yeah, if you're looking for any projects to get into to build any projects for any upcoming holidays, definitely don't hesitate to check things out like that. So with that, I'll do the last final call. This will be the last final call. Any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else for the net? Otherwise, we'll wrap things up. This is K1DBC Net Control. Go ahead. All right, K1DBC Net Control. Cover some club business over on our website, W0TX.org. Upcoming meeting October 20th. That'll be next week, 7 p.m. How can a ham live happily in an HOA? So we talk about covenant-controlled antennas and things like that. And as we were speaking about earlier in the evening, indoor antennas.
W0TX repeater.
This will be presented by Stan Trout, Whiskey Bravo 2, Sierra Hotel Romeo. HOAs seem to be commonplace in Colorado. Most have restrictions on outside antennas, including but not limited to ham radio antennas. So this might end the story here, but hams have a perfect solution. We are resourceful, so check that out. It'll be online again, 7 p.m. It takes place on our Google Meet. It is also broadcast on the unofficial YouTube that I broadcast on. Again, you can search YouTube for our club call sign. There is an Elmers session, very similar to what we're doing here this evening. Just a general Q&A, hangout, show and tell, 6 p.m. to 7 right before that. So check that out. More info, W0TX.org. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Appreciate everyone being in here. This net has been going on for many, many years now. Appreciate everyone continually coming back and hearing new voices, things like that. So your participation is wholly noted, and we always appreciate as much or as little as you can provide. So thanks again. So this evening we had a total of 14 check-ins. Appreciate that. Let me go back down here. If there are any other, this is K1DBC Net Control. If you wish to contact the Learning Net with topic suggestions or to set a date to act as Net Control operator or guest Elmer, you may do so at any time via email at drclearningnet@gmail.com. We also have a public mailing list at groups.io/g/ham learning net. We appreciate everyone who checked in tonight, and especially thank our Elmers. Thanks to the Denver Radio Club for allowing us to use their repeaters for this net. Again, next week will be our club meeting. Please feel free to join us for that. Everyone is welcome. All right, this is K1DBC. All stations, please stand by while the repeaters are placed into normal mode.
PL on.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Great to hear everybody, and we'll see you all next week. So keep your comments, questions, check-ins coming in to all our email addresses, and we'll talk later. This is K1DBC Net Control 7-3. I'm clear. All right, thanks again, everyone, for joining me here on YouTube. Always appreciate that. Don't ever hesitate to comment, like, subscribe, whatever. Let your friends know. So appreciate everyone being here. I'll play an outro video. You don't have to stick around or anything like that, but nothing too electronics related. But with that, so we'll see you next week.
NBC Television.